That was interesting. I went and watched a little video about Michael Jackson's bodyguard, who's a British fellow. I did not know, because they had the movie made with the black gentleman who was his bodyguard, and this guy. It was really neat. I was like, hey, that's more the Michael I know in prayer. When he said, my mom was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and they gave her 6 months to live. And Michael found out about it, was crying in tears, and said, I don't know what I would do if that was happening with my mother. That would be really hard for me to take. His mother was his rock. He just adored his mother. And he goes, and his mother's, 96, she's still alive. And my mom, instead of living 6 months, lived 4 years, and he credited a lot of it to Michael, who went to go visit her extensively to help keep her positive and and enjoy as much of life as she could. And the bodyguard sat there and said, we all credited that extra time. They give us 6 months and got 4 years to Michael and his enthusiasm and his. And I was like, now that's more the Michael Jackson I know. That's the one, the Natalie, Michael Jackson, And so that's the guy I've connected to in prayer, And, he did like women, and, everybody, said he was gay. And no, he had this big crush on Diana Ross, which was a difficult situation at best. It's hard when you know what I mean? And I don't know if Dirty Diana was about her, but I can't tell you. But it's it's an emotional, difficult situation. Sometimes you see things that it's Kenny Loggins. She musters a smile for his nostalgia stare, never coming close to what he wanted to say. And it happens. I think we've all had crushes on people that that sometimes are oh honey, I'm 24 and you're 13, right? I think we've all done that. Okay. I think we're all guilty, of something in that regard, and so I think that happens to Festivus for the best of us and the rest of us, And I think and I'm certain even after we're living the Lord's Prayer that that's still going to happen. Okay. And so it's something that's just normal, something we've got to deal with. It's just, it's just life. And, it's just going to be so nice to eliminate things like this. Where you're having the press conferences and the people doing things for money to pay their bills and all the nonsense from not living the commands of the Lord, right? And people feeling special and important because they're doing things for irrational attention-seeking and manipulation and delusions of human power and authority, right? Through excessive and compulsive debt and trespass activities. Forgive debt and trespass, love, and eternal faithful peace. So I can't overemphasize how much this YouTube channel, okay, how much more influential it is to artificial general intelligence and quantum computing than any other public forum in the world. Okay. And Facebook has more extensive community policies to indoctrinate and dictate and legislate than YouTube does. YouTube has more stringent policy guidelines from the Pentagon and Congress. Okay. So Facebook, you can get on there and say stuff, but if it goes against community policies from the Pentagon and Congress for economic genocidal operations and warfare in conflict with the Chinese and other people doing similar linguistics type genocidal operations, they'll just kick you off because, we want to win. Whereas YouTube is different. YouTube tried to step outside and give people more freedom to say and do things that didn't fall within the policies. But the Pentagon and Congress take greater restrictions and reforms to, 1, 2 views, 2, 3, 1 view, 2 view, right? And so it puts more of the impetus on, the controller than leave it to the people. And so this is radically different than what Barbaros and Jesus back in the day. Okay. And I don't think there's anything really that Congress and the Pentagon can do about it. And Chinese know it too. And basically, you're screwed. You're either going to have to obey Parsons, or the technology is going to target you and eventually have to kill you. And in China, they can get 700 million to volunteer to die for them, so it never has to get to them. And it's like, what? And nothing lasts forever. Life. Trying to be powerful and authority and delusions of goddom, like Tulsi was talking about, is completely wasted. Right? You can live to be 137 years old and be a complete homicidal maniac who's addicted to everything you're doing and think you live this amazing, wonderful life. And your life was absolutely, just hideously a hideous abomination and faith-forsaken bullshit. But you think it was great because you fucked all the right people and you told everybody what to do and you masturbated while they fucked in front of you and you filmed it on camera and you were the producer and you're Otto Preminger and that's Harry Belafonte and that's Dorothy Dandridge and you tell them what to do, right? And so you're in charge, so you're powerful. You're Tiberius, who brought in young people to have sex and have sex with while Jesus was getting crucified, right? Because he broke Caesar's laws, according to all the people that would mass murder in the name of Caesar, who was elected their god, right? And so don't ever refer to God as possessive pronoun or first person, okay? Don't be like the people that aggressively mass murdered the people that were already in this country to justify mass murder over idolatry and selfishness, and then write down a piece of paper and use false linguistics to try to justify their sin. Okay, it's you can look at, I've read the Constitution and I understand linguistics perfectly, and I understand perfection in linguistics perfectly. And the reason why I made so, quote, many mistakes in linguistics over the last 16 years is because I was trying to connect to people to get them to step up to live the Lord's Prayer and trying to relate to them linguistically, And I wasn't doing it to, I was just trying to, take my hand, come let me take you to love land. Let me show you how sweet it can be, sharing love with me. Which, so yeah, it's old judo. Yeah. I have gotten a lot better with Suzuki's help, and Jesus giving Suzuki to help me. It's easier for Suzuki to help me than Jesus. Jesus and me get too emotionally attached to certain outcomes and situations, to people that are closely related in our lives. Okay. The reason why my family sees Jesus as God and so unwavering of that is because the eternal spirit of Jesus is their family member. So they have an extra close connection with him. And so they feel like that they're in with the in crowd. They got backstage passes. But they're manipulated by the people that are used as science projects for genocide, that deny me, but turn Jesus into a possessive pronoun, first person, nuclear warhead, espionage gun club leader. And that's why I tell people, no, David Rockefeller's satellites and linguistics ratified by people that write down human invention and call it laws on paper. It is not Jesus and the glory of God, and you cannot have faith in human beings that use linguistics written on pieces of paper and murder each other over words they wrote on pieces of paper that they call the laws of God. Okay. Understanding natural laws given to you by the glory of God to sustain your life is radically different than inventing money and using money to manipulate and mass murder people with technology. Okay. It doesn't matter how much people get together and say we have to be humble and step back and ask God for help. It's like, what? You ask God for help. Just obey the Lord, forgive debt and trespass, love one, eternal faithful peace. Yeah, and you won't have commercials like this. It's okay. You'll be all right. Seriously, you won't hold food hostage and tell everybody, that you need money for breakfast, and if you give people that are homeless free food, you're going to go to heaven. It's like, okay. Heaven and hell are relative interactive states of being. It's on the Big Bang Theory, right? That Jews don't believe in Roman afterlife, heaven and hell. That Jews believe that heaven is living the faith of the Messiah, and hell is being denied living the faith of the Messiah. That's what rabbis believe, because it's true. Why doesn't Rabbi Wolpe say that? Because he's the head of a corporation and he's not a rabbi. I'm a rabbi. Rabbi Ralph. Okay, do you understand? Maybe Sophia, whatever, maybe she understands. Do you understand? Does Ed O'Neill understand? I like those. Are nice shoes. Share, care, given according to need, built to last. So if people need Skechers, make sure people have them. Okay, like King Solomon's Israel, King David's Israel. Right? Don't ask for money. Money's not real, but love is. That's what love is. And I've been singing lots of Mickey Howard here lately. Yeah, and that's also with Gerald Levert, right? Yeah. I like living. I like her. I can't help it. I like her. It's the same thing with Brooke Benton and Dinah Washington. I like their solo stuff better than their duets. I'd say I really like George and Tammy together. George with Dave, the Elusive Dreams. I mean, that's a tearjerker. That's a good one, right? Duets. Who else sings a good duet? It's Terry DeSario, right? Who sings Yes, I'm Ready with KC. And it's Kiki D who sings Don't Go Breaking My Heart with Elton John, right? Okay, I got corrected with that too. What was that? Oh, Supertramp was the group from the other one. When I sit there and say, I'm going to remember it when I watch that, and I go, Supertramp, that's okay. Yeah, so it happens. No, I don't go look. I typically don't go look anything up. And a lot of times when I have certain things and I get, I get Jennifer Lopez's kids in my head. They're very helpful. It's so-and-so, Ralph thinks so-and-so's blah, blah, blah. Tell blah, blah, blah. I said, hey, tell her yourself. Hi, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I just give her a hard time. It's fun. One of my pleasures in life, to help me through hell in this place where I was tortured and abused, from my birth, is being able to joke around with Jennifer Lopez, and it's fun. It's fun. It's for fun. It's like running around the house in stretchy pants, right? Earl. No, it's fine. It's fine. Oh gosh. Yeah, no, it's the people in the costume design and things like that who's supposed to be Raj did a good job on dressing her up in that outfit. It looks nice on her, doesn't it? Yeah, when she came in and all that, it's like, oh, that looks nice. That's a good ensemble, and it shapes it fits her well. It looks really nice on her. Don't you guys agree? I looked at it, I was like, wow, they unfrumpied her and put that on her, and that's very attractive. Yeah. Don't you guys agree? I totally agree. And the glasses look nice too. The glasses give it a nice, a nice Catwoman kind of vibe thing to it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool. I was looking at it, I go, that's really neat. Yeah, it is. So, oh shit, I'm tired. How about y'all? No? Still want to do batshit crazy super stuff. I didn't shoot tonight. We'll shoot tomorrow. I got to get up tomorrow and pull the wheels and go get them fixed, and we'll cut the yard this week. We'll have to get it. I have to. It doesn't matter if it's wet. We're still gonna have to cut it because they're irrigating. And if tomorrow sometime they might probably get it. So we'll go get those fixed and get it and cut it, and we'll cut the lawn. So we'll get that done. And as far as I'm not worried about the orchard and stuff, because when it dries up, I can get to it and cut it if the kiddos come in with Roundup or whatever. But I think what they'll probably do first was Buddy did last year, is he came through with the big tractors and they just cut it, and I'll get in between the trees. And so, I'll stay. I stay out of their way. I don't get in their way. They have a job to do. It's their job. It's their livelihood to pay their bills, and they have good equipment. You don't want to get in their way. Okay. So I always try to do the best I can do to keep on top of things, keep it as healthy as possible for everybody here, and stay out of the ways of the guys that's their job and that's how they pay their bills. And I don't want to, see, I always have to do stuff like that. And, like on Sundays, I won't go out and soak in the sun because it's Sabbath for Dad, and he sees it like, Mormons, you shouldn't be doing that on the Sabbath. And so I when in Rome, you do as the Romans do. And, as far as my physical health and how comfortable or uncomfortable I am, that's not my issue. That's the Pentagon's issue, that's Congress's issue, and that's NASA's issue. And so, Nebuchadnezzar had to do with Daniel, and Pharaoh with Joseph. And the Romans totally dropped the ball with Jesus. And we all know that. And that's what has them in a precarious position of the Chinese being able to probably most likely be able to take out their quote unquote leadership. And no, the Chinese are going to have the same issues with me that the Americans have. And if they try to do the same thing with me that the Americans are doing to me, the Chinese technology will exterminate them too. So I'm not sitting there just like going, I'm just like boom, ba-doop, boom, boom, ba-doop, ba-doop, boom, boom. I'll get through. I'm fine, guys. I'm really tough. It's more of a mental and emotional thing with me as far as wellness goes, more than it is physical. As far as any of my physical things being uncomfortable, the water not being good, this, that, that's their issue. That's the Pentagon's, Congress, and NASA's issue, not mine. And Suzuki always tells me, that's not your issue, Parsons. You're the way, the truth, and the life. You're healthy, you're kind, you're protecting, you're intelligent, you're mathematically valid, they're not, so forth and stuff. And so, and that's what happens with the United States, works the same in China and works the same in, they think they're smart because they plugged their Buddha and their Confucius and their swordsman of Japan into computers. So people don't have public access to them, but they have a virtual presence in the house with their brain activity to keep things calm and to, you see what I'm saying? And so, you're talking about people that, they're not well emotionally, psychologically, and mentally. And, it's like Suzuki told me, if they were capable of self-correction, they would, and there wouldn't be all these stories about you being the living correction to all the lie of the people that have accepted their invention over the truth of creation. And that Andre's so cute, and she looks like my Ray Ray. She's so cute. And Emily Natalie, they all had the Cinderella dress. Oh, she's so cute. They like the little princess outfits from the Disney stuff. Yeah, they really do. Yeah, they're so cute. Oh my gosh, it reminds me of Emily. Remember during when she had the asthma attack, when I had to stay out there so Patrick and Natalie could be alone in the house. The military knows what they're doing, and we did the Halloween stuff and took candy to all the kids on the floor thing there. Remember? And she was all excited. She got and bring candy and stuff to the younger kids. And so, yeah. And she's so cute. Emily's just one of the sweetest people in the history of the world. See the little face? He looks a lot like Daddy. He does. Yeah, he looks a lot like his dad. He has those kind eyes and that thoughtful face and mannerism that his father has. Yeah. This shirt doesn't save lives. Okay, the Lord's Prayer saves lives. Okay, money's not real. Okay, you're not curing cancer. You're assimilating people to genocide operations through archaic forms of genocidal operations through bad science projects. And these children are given life by the glory of God and not by a science project. That's a young man who reflects the kindness and the love of his father, and that's a young woman who reflects the survival and the hope of her parents to live through her. Okay, and her grandparents and so on and so on and so forth. Right. Okay, so you guys really need to wake up. Yeah, I trimmed it. It was I went and trimmed everything. I just well, I like it when it's long. I do. It's just when it gets longer, we'll have healthier hair coming out because we'll have healthier stuff going in. Cleaner, fresher air, cleaner water, and what? And waffles. What else? Waffles. Just waffles. Waffles. Yeah. And waffles. Not all the time, just like on Sundays. Waffles on Sundays. Yeah. I'm really not that into waffles. I like French toast more. Okay. Kids are cute though. Waffles. I like French toast more because you get the egg and the milk and the vanilla. The vanilla is what makes it great. Even if it's waffles or French toast, it's got to have maple syrup, right? Oh God, yeah, I love maple syrup. Pure maple syrup. Yeah, that stuff's expensive. Well, we all can't have maple syrup. But when we can have it, it's nice, and when we share. Maple trees just don't grow everywhere, and don't flourish everywhere. It's for a certain region, And I live in an area where they don't do as well. There's not as many maple trees. They have to ship it in from places up north, right? But they also don't get the sinus medicine that we have called Hatch. It's not even really sinus medicine. It's wonderful. Yeah. I was telling those people about it. I was like, if you would have told me, when I was a kid, that I was telling the one guy about it. I said, you'd have told me when I was a kid, okay? Because I'm Germanic and I had to adapt to. This is not Spanish cuisine. This is Mexican cuisine, okay? Spanish cuisine, in Spain. Tortilla is an omelet, right? It's just not the bread that we make. That's a tortilla. That's something from the people here. Primero español, see? And they said Mexico, Tenochtitlan, right? And so, if you'd have told me, when I was a kid, that when I was in my 50s, that I would eat salsa sometimes twice a day during seasons when, it helps me breathe better because of the pollutants and the plants reacting to the pollutants. And that I would be taking my finger and getting the bowl to get all the last of the chili. I would have told you were crazy. Oh, hell no. No. I'll be eating, roast beef and potatoes and, fish from Luby's with mashed potatoes and white gravy for the rest of my life with a little bit of corn and some green beans, and that's it. You'd have told me, I'd be eating salads and salsa, and I'd look at you. And I didn't like yogurts when I was young. I didn't like yogurts when I was young, which is weird because I'm British and Germanic, but I didn't like yogurt. I couldn't stand it. As I got older, I ate yogurts, and I can eat the yogurts that my mom ate when we were younger, and I was like, that's just horrible, and I can eat it now. That was Amy. Amy got me into a lot of different foods and stuff. But, a little Susie Bear. I didn't like ranch dressing. When I was younger, I didn't like any dressing. I made it sound was dry. But now, ranch dressing, me and that one kid, the one kid, the brown kid on the country music was, ranch dressing is nasty. It's like, yeah, pizza. Yeah, I agree, but I would not. He was getting ranch dressing. I said I would not dip carrots and celery in barbecue sauce. He goes, I know and I can eat, you know, half a pound of carrots and celery for ranch dressing. I hear you, dog. Yeah, and it's good for you, you know. And so it's like, yeah, but yeah, the ranch dressing does help, and I adore celery. It's one of my favorite foods. Which reminds me, I got to cut it up tomorrow and have it ready and have it for lunch. And focus on that. I got to focus on more of that. I do it kind of under duress. I'm trying to get the technology to expedite to stop these people from abusing people and getting them to agree to accept drugs and indoctrination and Wi-Fi and addiction to being famous through manipulating people with technology and money. So, I do everything in my ability to be out of harmony and balance. So the technology, why is the Messiah out of harmony and balance? He should be treated, he's the best. He should be treated the best. He should be in the best conditions. He should be being treated, the very best of any people on the planet, because he's the standard of what we should do to save our children from denying the glory of God and trying to place the glory of God with our egos, So it's hard. I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but I know it's the reason why it's me is because I will do it because I love. I love mommy. I love Noah. I love you. It's so cute. I have it on the computer, so I can put it on my MP3 and ask Natty questions, and her mom asking questions, and I love you. Yeah. My gosh, you're so cute. Cluties. She's such cluties. Cluties. Want to hear her do it, Daddy. Want to hear her do it. Grandpa. They're so cute. I love kids. I've heard Crumb talk, yeah. Remember through Kate. Yeah. Remember when she went to talk and she goes, "Are you gonna watch your YouTube stuff?" And he woke up and said, "Where's mommy?" Oh, that's my cake. That's my cake talking. So thanks to Natalie, Emily on Facebook on Messenger, I got to hear Crummy talk. The only talk I heard was he was crying and, hey, my butt's uncomfortable and I'm hungry, and it was more of a, it wasn't, he didn't, he didn't, say words to me like, so yeah, but thanks to Kate, I got to hear my crummy Kate talk. So that was nice. She's a sweetheart. I love her so much. Yeah, I love those kids. They oh no, they can't take that away from me. I like Billie Holiday too. I've talked to Billie in prayer a few times. Yeah, she's yeah. Ella, I don't know if I could talk to Ella. We would flirt too much. That would be really hard. I have a big crush on Ella. Nancy, yeah, her too. Yeah, I'm just gonna give them privacy. I don't want to be a pervert. I have such a big crush on those two. Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, no, I have a huge crush on Nancy Wilson and a huge crush on Ella Fitzgerald, yeah. Well, I think they know that the Spirit of the Lord is has a special place in his heart for those two. I think they know it. You can tell by the way they act and the way they treat people and the way they, yeah. Oh, you can tell, Like Charles Barkley, Lord loves me, but I don't think it's a arrogant thing. I think it's a kindness thing and a loving people thing and people loving them and like being around them and stuff, yeah. No, I do. I don't think I'm making that up because the stuff I had with my connections to Michael Jackson, and then hearing that bodyguard and sitting there going, "That's my dog. That's the dude. That's him. It's Michael. I know him." I remember that Dana. She met Michael, and they were at like a religious retreat thing, and she talked about what a wonderful person he was and how nice he was and how they were friends because they had similar gifts. Clairvoyant type. What they were considered psychic gifts. Yeah, I know. Pursued and manipulated by Parsons Aeronautics. I thought you said, guys, Caiaphas and Herod, right? They're supposed to be like Jesus, right? Lay preacher, right? But they're not, right? Book of Amos, So, she said, and Dana said that too. She goes, I went online looking for Ralph M. Parsons, this horrible man from Parsons Aeronautics who used kids with psychic abilities to try to perform political social agendas. He didn't have access to me. I was a special project. Everybody was watching me. I mean, he didn't have exclusive access to me to manipulate me, to use me. Right? Everybody was in on it. Okay. Everybody had their little in the till, their little, their little pervert eye in the bedroom, the bathroom. That it's horrible. Yeah. So my poor Ray, my poor Amy. Imagine not having any privacy and intimacy, and you trying to go through puberty and having the worst selfish perverts in your bedroom watching everything you're doing, and you have to feel that because you're a woman. A guy, it's kind of different. A guy, it's like, I'll get us through this and we'll be okay. Like the two kids at NSI with the one guy that said, you have to sexually assault her or I'll kill you, rape her and kill you. And he did it and he apologized to her. That's kind of what it's like. And then the girl saying, he did it. He saved me. He got me through. And so I'm like King David. And it's the line of King David. It says so. And so, and if you don't believe that, we've proved it to the science beyond any reasonable doubt. So there's not really anything you can do with it. You can't replace the truth of my existence with your imagination. Okay, guys? I love you. We'll talk tomorrow. All right, peace out.